When my son was admitted at Kenyatta National Hospital in 2007, he spent about 1.5 years on this bed, in this particular bed, and then from there moved to the other bed at the far end. Basically, this is the room that I called home for almost 2 years.
For any parent, the pain of losing a child is enduring. James Nyaga is one such parent. He stares into the empty space as he remembers his son's 3-year battle with cancer.
It was 2 years and around 10 months. His was very strange. He simply started wetting in the bed again, and he just didn't want to sleep alone. So we took him to the nearest clinic there, and they said he had worms, so he was treated for worms.
However, even after the treatment, nothing changed. So one day his wife felt Lee's stomach and it was hard. They thought he had swallowed something like a coin and they took him to a private hospital. He was instead diagnosed with a tumor, which was later operated on. But the doctors then said the tumor was too big and it could not be removed surgically, so he was referred to Kenyatta National Hospital for chemotherapy. All this time, they were not aware that their son was suffering from cancer.
We came to KNH in May, and I was started on chemotherapy the following month, I think on June. And he had 12 courses of chemotherapy. After that, he went for the second surgery, where they removed the remnants. There are some pieces that had not been cleared by the chemo, which they removed. And then he was given 2 extra doses of chemo. And then he went for radiotherapy. I think he took about 18 grays, if I'm not very wrong, about 18 grays. And then he went home.
For the following 8 months, Lee was healthy, but this was short-lived. The tumor recurred in August 2009 and he was taken back to hospital. He reacted to every drug he was given, and this forced the doctors to stop giving him medication. He was hospitalized for 4 months without any medication. Nyaga says this is the time it dawned on them that this was Lee's last moments.
As a family, felt that the boy needed to spend his last moments with his family, and so we asked the hospital, the palliative care unit, to see if there was anything they could help, and the doctors were very frank with us. They told us that we have reached, there's nothing they could do. And since the boy was was very weak, we asked for permission to take him home, and we took him home in January, end of January last year. And then he actually went back to school, although he was limping and the tumor was already gone very big. So he was in school up to April when they closed. And then in May 10th, he passed on in the morning.
Nyaga does not harbor any bitterness over the death of his son. He has instead chosen to use that suffering and loss of his son as a lesson to take care of other cancer children. He is now involved in an organization known as Hope for Cancer Kids.
And there's so many things I learned from the boy, because most of the things that we do as an organization are a result of what we discussed now with other people, depending on what we were saying. For example, I remember when in 2007, December, the boy wanted to go home, but he couldn't. And so we asked for, he said he wanted to talk to his brother. And so if the brother is not coming, then we should not come. We used to bring toys. He thought there's somebody else. No, I don't want the toys. I want my brother. So what I did, we discussed that with the administrators, and they allowed the brother to come. For me, if the boy never insisted, we would never have gotten that day. And that day is now in the calendar. I mean, every 2 months or 1 month we come to KNH and we have an open day where children come and mingle with the brothers. The idea here is to destigmatize cancer and also to distract the children from the painful procedures.
Dr. Fatma Abdallah, a pediatric cancer specialist at Kenyatta National Hospital, talks about some of the most common cases of cancer in children that they receive.
Okay, the commonest cancer that our children come with is the one we call Burkitt lymphoma. usually presenting with a swelling of the jaw. Usually the lower jaw, sometimes it can be the upper jaw. Usually one side, but sometimes it can be both sides. And sometimes it can affect the abdomen. They come with abdominal swelling. And then the second commonest is the leukemias, the blood cancers. And then the third commonest is the cancer of the kidneys.
She says most of the children are brought into the hospital when the cancer is at the late stages.
They come from the remote areas. By the time the junior doctors have treated, they think, oh, this is malaria, this is what, go home drugs, come back. They keep going and coming until the doctor begins to think, maybe this is something more, let me send to the provincial hospital. And we find parents will take even up to 3 months to come to Kenyatta from the time the doctor has written a letter that he suspects it's cancer. Please, could we examine and investigate?
Dr. Abdallah advises parents to look out for these symptoms.
If there's a swelling that usually doesn't give pain, that usually is highly suggestive of cancers. The common is the one that comes with a jaw swelling, and this is usually very fast growing. Within 3 weeks to a month, the jaw can swell and become that size. But many times parents attribute it to a fall. And then the next one is when a child begins to have abdominal swelling. So at the time when parents, especially mothers, are bathing kids, they should touch those abdomens and feel them. If you see that your child, you've been taking them to hospital every 2 to 3 weeks, they have tonsils every 2 to 3 weeks, they've got a cough, they should begin to be a bit suspicious and request for a thorough examination. With cancer, with late presentation, then the chances of cure are markedly reduced.